That's why we wrote this book, y'all. Healed, Empowered, Resilient. Her.
Yes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Reading Talk. I am your most gracious host, Miss Seisha. And with Real Reading Talk, I discuss the real systemic issues that are at the very core, the very foundation as to why we have these high levels of illiteracy in our Black and underserved communities and the ways in which we can combat these issues together, y'all. Yes, yes, yes. So, oh my goodness, you guys who are able to see the podcast, you all see two beautiful, phenomenal women looking at you. Okay. I mean, they are just super, super dope, y'all. And guess what? They are my co authors of our book, Her.
Yay!
Okay. Healed, empowered, resilient. Okay. Yes. All three of us together. Okay. Three of the phenomenal 10 women who came together to write this magnificent book. And what we are going to do is, I want you all to listen to their stories and leading up to how they decided to be a part of this remarkable project where we have came together to talk about different things and struggles, trials, and tribulations, and how we were able to turn those into triumphs and make some sweet comebacks, y'all. So, my first guest, who I would love to introduce, is Mrs. Annie Guy. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Hi. My name is Annie Guy. I live here in Somerset, New Jersey. I'm a professional life coach. I empower lives to create new journeys. And um, I don't know what else. A family of a mixed family, should I say? Extended, right? I had a stepfather, a mom. My mom had four kids, and my stepfather had three. Well, he had four, but two that lived with us. So we were a blended family. And when we grew up, education was a foundation. Education and making sure you have a job that you can do longevity on. Um, and we would sit at the table and do our homework, and he instilled that in us. So if we had like problems in counting, he would sit there and make us write like 1 to 100. So we made sure that we had that home education in school. So reading was a part of it. We had to read on the weekends or what have you. But that's a little background for me here in Somerset.
Oh, that is really, really great. And I'm so glad that you talked about that because these are things that, again, people have to understand when we are trying to develop and nurture a culture of literacy. We're trying to help eradicate high levels of illiteracy in our communities. The ways that that's going to happen, it has to be all hands on deck. It has
Mhm.
to be our families involved. And so I love that piece where you talked about you sitting at the table, doing your
Mhm.
homework with your family. That's rare, as we know,
Yes.
especially nowadays. That's something that you don't really find too much of. But however, again, I know education, the way people do things now, it looks different. And but it sounds like how you were raised, your parents were definitely intentional
Mhm.
about making sure they were providing that foundation. So,
Yes. He would sit there like we would do our homework. So at the end of the night, we would do our homework. So we would sit in on the table and he would correct everything, whether he would go through it to make sure it's right. And if we got something wrong, we had to come back and fix it.
mm,
But he was very adamant about, us getting our work done. So yes.
oh, that's good. That is absolutely phenomenal. I love that. So now I want to ask you to talk about because you said that you are a life coach, right?
Hmm.
So what was it that brought you into that space of becoming a life coach? And tell everybody what a life coach is first, and then, tell
A
us
life
about you.
coach is like an accountability partner, right? They meet you where you're at, right? Where you're at in that point of your life,
Mhm.
and they help you move forward if you're stuck or what have you. They're like accountability partner. You say you want to do this, and they just come along and help you push you out the window so you can make sure that get done. So whether it be nutrition, jobs, personal growth, so just coming along, making sure, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you, how can you go about it to make that change? So that's what the life coach is about. And I came to be a life coach. I always had a niche for seeing people grow, whether it was incarcerated individuals coming out of the system, and just letting them know that they can always change and move forward, that one circumstance doesn't define them, right? So I always had a a gift for that, right? Making sure, keep applying to that job, keep moving forward, keep doing that. So then when I found out about life coaching, it was like, oh, that really fits in. I always want to see people move beyond their circumstances. So I became a professional life coach.
Wow, that is amazing. And then I'm just thinking about though a person who's a life coach, and I can just get this from you, your warm personality. You definitely have to be somebody who is very positive, optimistic,
Mm-hmm.
hopeful. You see the
Mm-hmm.
good, you see the potential. Is this
Yes.
something that like is this a characteristic that you had like ever since you were a kid? Like you were the go-to, when it came to
I
helping
would say
people?
yes,
Okay.
yes. I will always be that person to go to come and have a conversation with, and just to see, if you're level-headed, and always encouraging others to rise above it, right?
Mm,
And then it became one day when I had to actually take a look at myself, right?
mm,
And see how I was living, how I wanted to live, and the things that I overcame, like in life, like even my when we was younger, we moved around a lot, right?
mm,
So having to adapt to new situations, new environments, new school systems, or what have you. So it was always embedded in me through
mm.
that journey.
Yeah.
So I was always able to move and transition and meet other people and make the best of my situation. So it was just, kind of already instilled in me to with the environment that I had to make my next movement or my next situation better than what the last was.
That is, I'm glad, and I'm so glad that you said that piece and that you were open and shared that with you moving around a lot,
Mhm.
because you have a lot of our youth, in particular in Black and Brown communities, they have to deal with those types of issues, and a lot of it, a lot of it stems from finances. You know what I'm saying? And in a lot of cases, right? And so for you to be able to talk about how you were able to pivot and you learned that early, to be able to, go into other environments. And then here it is. Now you have to, quite sure, get new friends. And you know what I'm saying? Now you got
Mhm.
to,
Yes.
come in and reintroduce yourself again to a whole new group
Yes.
of people, all of that type of stuff. So that right there is something that I'm glad that you share, because hopefully that'll give somebody who's dealing with that same situation that hope and the tools to be able to know how to be able to
Mhm.
do that. So
Yes.
now, what I would love to do is, speaking of you talking about overcoming,
Mhm.
of course, it makes me think about our book, Healed, Empowered,
Yes.
Resilient. Yay, her. Right, right, right. Because that's really the theme of our book. All of us women came together to talk about these setbacks and how we turn them into comebacks, right? And so now I would love for you to talk about what made you decide to get a part of this project that, I always got to shout at each episode when I'm interviewing and or talking to, I really don't like to say interview, I like to say having a conversation with my co-authors. Of course, we got to give a shout out to our dear sister Asia Nasir, because she was the one
Yes.
who created this author's masterclass. This is how we were able to have our very first book together, because of her nonprofit organization, Jessica Cares. So I definitely want to give her a shout out. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So what made you decide to, get a part of the project and us writing the book together?
Let's talk about alignment. I think a couple of
Mm.
months before that, one of my girlfriends has said, you want to write a book, and you should write a book. And I'm like, I got time for that. I ain't write no book. And then all of a sudden I get this text from Asia, and she's like, would you want to do this class? It's a co-author book. And I'm like, I was like, Asia, how much does it cost? And she was like, it's grant funded. I said, well, what are the days? She was like, about Sunday. I said, what are the times? I said, I'm in. I didn't even really think about it. I didn't give it no thought, no question, because I see it is always pushing me and challenging me and pulling me and like, you
Sure.
can do this and you can do that. So I
Right.
was like, all in.
Yes. Oh, I
I
love
didn't even
it.
think about it. I was like, okay, yeah, sign me up.
Right, right.
And then when it started, I was like, what did I get myself into?
Mm,
Writing a book? What? You
mm,
want me to write a book? And then it was like, how many pages? What do you write about? What do you want to do? What do you put down? And she was like, it can be how many ever pages you want. And you can be as authentic as you want. And then hearing my co-author speak and ask the questions, well, how much should we put in? Should we put in truth? Should we not put in truth? Should we
mm,
do this? Should we do that? And I was just like, okay, this is really challenging. Like I'm really nervous and scared right now. But then something clicked and it was like, just tell your truth. Be honest.
mm,
Put it in as much as you can. Let the world hear your story. And it was just crazy because uh one of my clients the other day, she said, I read the book. And she said, I couldn't get past the first page. And I'm like, don't make me cry. Like, you never thought that your story would have an impact on someone else. You
mm.
just hold it in, right?
Yeah.
But now to see it in real time, you always say, you listen to that person, you get a story, it might change your life or what
Mm,
have you. But when it's actually real,
yeah.
it was just an eye opener for me. And it was like, wow, somebody actually really listened. And she was like, your affirmations, I send them out all the time. I
Mm,
was like, wow, like I just never knew how much. Well, I knew that I can impact somebody, but actually through my story, through my words, I know I can push people out the window, coach them, move them along. But to actually hear my story and say that they can identify with it or they understand, it's just amazing.
that is it. Woo, I think me and me and Didi, we just like, it's just like, oh man, like you got us
Yes.
drawn in, and I know the
Yes.
audience is feeling the same way for real. Like that is the message right there. Like you said, the key word, the integral word is impact. And
Yes.
that's exactly what we want to happen, impact, and we want it to lead to action. We want people to be able to say, you know what, whatever it is I'm going through, whatever struggles and challenges, it doesn't matter. I can push through. I can persevere. I am resilient.
Hmm.
And that is just so amazing. Can you tell everybody just a little, just give us like a synopsis of your chapter. What's the title of your chapter? What number is
The
the title? And yeah.
Okay, my chapter is chapter 4.
Mm-hmm.
The title is For the Love of Me,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
I chose For the Love of Me because sometimes we forget ourselves, right? We do so much for others. We pour in, we push, we're moms, we're wives, we're friends, and we just give everything to everybody else.
mhm, mhm,
And then within my story, I realized that I was missing me.
mhm,
I forgot to pour in to me. And then I realized that if I don't pour into me, how can I give to others? I've been giving, I was taught to give, I gave, and it's like, wait a minute. I'm sad, I'm lonely.
Mhm.
When do I get to hold me? When do I get to love me?
Mhm.
So it became for the love of me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm a breast cancer survivor. So I had to put me up here going through my journey. I had to
Yeah.
eventually raise me,
Mm.
because if I didn't take care of myself during that time frame, there was days I couldn't take care of the boys, or I couldn't help my husband. I'm like the cooker, the cleaner, all of that. And those things I couldn't do. And the biggest thing was allowing them to help me at the time I needed it the most. Because I'm the giver, I'm the pusher, I'm always doing. It was like, wait, somebody help me? I don't need no help. I can do it. You know what? Can you just help me to the shower? Can you wash my back? I can't reach. I got a different reach with my arms because of the breast cancer. So I needed help. And in that moment, I realized that it's okay to allow others to take care of me, because I'm quick to take care about somebody else.
Mhm.
But when it's reciprocated, it was like, no, I got it. No, you ain't do it right. No, put it back over there. You
That's
you
up.
ain't doing how I would do it. And then God was just like, they did their best.
Mhm.
Allow that. It's not done how you want it done or how you would do it, but they did their best.
Mhm.
And that was okay, because I couldn't change it.
Mm.
Mhm. Ooh. Y'all, wait. Okay, I just had to sit a little bit. Okay, all right. Okay. Mm. Y'all better get this book. Can we show?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all got to get this book here. Y'all heard Annie. Y'all heard her. Okay. Like you were speaking to our sisters out there. That's what I literally I'm drowning everybody. I'm thinking about sisters, okay? And majority of us, I probably could say shit, probably close to 100%, at least 90% of us was raised with that mentality of I got it. Those of us, you seen the women in our community, our mothers, caregivers, grandmas, mud deer, whatever you call you seen that. That was the
Yes.
example. It was like, yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it. But like you said, then the test came from the
Mm-hmm.
most high. And it was
Yeah.
like, now you have to sit and receive the help.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sit and receive the help. And I'm just looking at you now. And again, of course, my first time meeting you was through our co-author cohort. And I'm just like, just blown away. I was blown away by your story. And just more and more I talk to you, I'm like, man, she is a dope sister. Like that, I love saying dope, but I'm for real. It's
Yes.
like that's what comes to my mind on my spirit. I'm like,
Okay.
you are just so phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You
You,
too.
oh, thank you.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, literally. I'm just, oh man. So, what I would love to do, because of course we are sharing the space, right? Because we have another dope co-author who the baton is about to get passed to. Well, you already know, Dee Dee, you already know. So, I would love to end on your portion, Annie, with you reading a couple of sentences from our collective, our book, Healed, Empowered, Resilient, y'all.
Okay, I just want you to know, to those who are navigating through their own challenges, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, I want you to know that you're not alone. Your journey is unique, and it is filled with immense strength and potential. You have the power to transform your hardships into purpose, your struggles into wisdom, and your life into something truly extraordinary. For
Mhm.
the love of you.
Oh, I love it. Oh wow. Thank you so much. You are just amazing and we appreciate you tremendously.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, definitely, definitely. So now, it is time to pass the So, our next guest and super dope co-author
Thank you.
is Miss Claudette Maldonado. Did I say it
Perfectly
correctly?
said.
Girl,
Perfect.
I was like, I said, yes, yes. Welcome to the show. So, of course, just like how I, remind my guests, we want to know a little bit about you, your background, where you're from, where you grew up, your family dynamic. Talk to us.
Okay, my name is Claudette. I grew up in Far Rockaway, Queens, in a single parent household. My mother and father Puerto Rican. Um, you know how it was in the 70s. There was a lot of stuff going on. Um, but the one thing I could say in my house was definitely a lot of books. And I'm saying that because my mother goes through books like crazy, reading all the time.
Mhm.
So that's one thing that, I always think about with my childhood. Judy Blume,
Mhm.
right? Read all her books. Um, and we grew up kind of simple, it was some hard struggles because there was a lot of dysfunction in my family. Um, that was learned down through it's generational. So, as I became older, I started to see that my life was repeating the same patterns over and over again. It's like the mouse in the wheel. I was not getting no results, but I was doing the same thing. So, my foundation with reading and want and trying to learn myself led me to discover that I can be the master of my own ship. Like I could make some changes, and it was hard though because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what that you're supposed to even love yourself. So, then I started realizing like these are things that were inside of me that I didn't know. I didn't identify them because I didn't know it was something to identify. I don't know if that makes sense, but there was just so much things that I grew up with the norm that I now realize was like it was dysfunctional, but that dysfunction led me to, and me having children led me to wanting to change so much. But I wasn't graceful at first. So that's one thing I realized about myself. I wasn't graceful with myself, with my family. Um, and then things just kept getting downhill and downhill. And then I was like bumped against the wall, like, okay, you know what? You about to sit still. And that's what God did for me. I, became a single parent myself. And I realized that having a man in the house or just, what everybody thinks you're supposed to have may not be the best thing for me. Maybe being by myself and trying to raise my children would be the answer for me. So there were many, many days I would be here by myself and starting to hear myself complain about what this person did to me, what that person did to me. And I started getting sick of myself. Like, you always blaming other people, but what is your role in this? And I didn't even really know how to look at myself. But then when I started to see myself, I started to see my mother, my grandmother, my sister, my aunts, my uncles. I started to see that there were things that needed to be changed. And when I first tried to go about it, I wasn't graceful, like I said. And it seemed like I kept getting shut down. But the one thing that God will do is He'll give you your chances. You just brush yourself and keep getting back up. And then I started to realize that I'm not a nice person or empathetic as I thought I was. And um, I started thinking about wanting my kids to forgive me for whatever I've done to them. And then I started thinking about how I am with my parents. And that's led me to really try to learn how to be graceful, listen, not waiting for my turn to speak because I had to be right. That was kind of hard for me, but I learned to shut up. Like Judge Judy says, you got two ears and one mouth. And that helped me so much, listening, empathetic, just really having compassion that you're not just a mom, you're a sister, you're a daughter, you're a human being. And I think that being graceful and allowing people to heal and explain their story, that's the most important thing, is that everyone wants someone to listen to them and understand their pain, whether their pain is right or wrong for you, but that's their pain, that's their story. And I think that having more compassion for others and yourself is the key.
Wow, wow. I was thinking about what you said, and you can correct me. I'm trying to say it in the correct way, verbatim. When you said you didn't know how to love yourself, is that what you said, or you didn't know how
I
to
didn't
love?
even understand what that concept
You didn't.
was.
You didn't.
I was like 21, maybe 20. I want to say between 21 and 23 years old. And someone asked me that question, like, do you love yourself? And I was like, I mean, and I thought I was a smart person. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I never saw that loving yourself was a thing. I just didn't know that. I mean, I watched my mother be so graceful, help everybody, but I never saw my mother pour into herself.
Mm,
I know, and we grew up with those type of women that helped everybody but didn't pour into themselves. And I didn't really understand what that meant. How do you love yourself? What does that look like? What does that feel like?
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And then I realized, like, I had a daughter at that point, and I'm like, how can I teach her that? I'm not going to be able to. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I just didn't know. And I struggled with that for years, learning what that means, what it looks like,
mm,
how it feels. And it's so sad to admit that I just did not know how to love myself. I did not know. But
mm,
then I started pouring into myself a little bit by going to therapy,
mm,
making sure I took care of my health, going to the doctor. Then it was, okay, how do you look? The exterior, you
mm,
know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Because I'm not like a fashionable person, or, I always felt like I want people to see the inside of me.
mm.
So when people always identified me for how I looked, it
Okay.
didn't make me feel like more, it just didn't make me feel like I was being loved, you
Gotcha.
know? But I had to learn how to love myself. I had to learn it because I had to teach my daughters and my son that. I
Mm,
don't want them thinking that it's somebody else's job to love you. And that is where me finding myself single, divorced and single.
mhm,
And I was like, this is not someone else's job. This is like literally my job to heal myself, love myself, forgive myself,
mhm,
be patient with myself. And I would be sitting here in this house by myself, like, who are you? And
mm.
a friend of mine's always was talking about Nas. When you wipe down the mirror, things become clearer. And that would stick in my head. I mean, I wrote, I put that line in the book because that is like the truth. We always blame other people. So we're so distracted with other people and what they've done to us that we don't see what we're actually doing to ourselves. And God will put you through that test over and over and over until you get, and I must have been real hard headed because I repeated that a lot.
Relate. I can relate. Lord.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You are just hitting on so many points. You are dropping gems and
Oh,
jewels.
wow.
You would know, literally, you are. You are
Yes.
absolutely. Look, Annie, she's shaking her head. It's like, and I
Yeah.
know our listeners out there, I know they are feeling that same way. And again,
Mm-hmm.
it is something that's that common theme, once again, in our communities, our Black and Brown communities, where we
Yes.
see that common theme with the women taking care of everybody else. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost like I remember, as a matter of fact, I just say this little quick story, and then I want to we're going to come right back to you with collaborating with the book and everything. My daughter, she's 18, and she was saying she had told her grandmother, she was like, yeah, I was taking a nap. And my daughter, here it is, teenager, she don't play with her naps, okay? She's way, way better than me. And then she said that her grandmother was like, oh, I think she called her old. She said so. She basically was kind of like trying to downplay it. And so, and I was telling my daughter, I was like, I said, because a lot of times, especially to women from our older generations, that wasn't something that they did a lot of, like, making sure they got naps and all of that. It was like you had to always be busy. You had to always be doing something, taking care of somebody else.
Mm.
And again, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, not doing something as simple as taking a nap. Resting, that is a part of our restoration. That's how we heal. But when we
Yes.
look at that, like you may be, oh, you being lazy, you know what I'm saying? Or, what you ain't got nothing else to do. You can't be taking care of this, taking care of that. It's like, no, I need to take a nap. My body is telling me I need to rest. And that is
Yes.
okay. And again, it's a
Yeah.
part that goes into what you said in terms of learning to value ourselves. That's us valuing and loving ourselves, pouring into ourselves, and doing something as simple as taking a nap. So I just wanted to, share that story.
Yes. That
Uh,
is us.
Yep,
uh,
yeah,
That's so
for
important.
real.
Like you said,
yes.
It's
taking a nap.
yes, exactly, exactly. And I
I,
love the fact how. Oh, I'm sorry, Andy. You
oh,
want to say
no, go
something?
ahead, Station.
You sure?
Yes, go ahead, go
Oh,
ahead.
oh, okay.
I
I
was
was
just gonna say I love
please.
how she went and said she went to therapy and all of
Yes,
that. I love it.
thank
Cause
you.
look, that was the taboo thing. You went to therapy, you
Come on.
crazy.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed.
Let me tell you, a lot of people, even in my family, were like, oh, you going to therapy? Like,
Hmm.
because like you said, we didn't grow up understanding that people could be sad, could be hurt,
Mhm.
could be living in dysfunction, could even be bipolar, autistic. The black and brown community, which my children are Latino and black, you
Mhm.
know, we didn't, my brother, he had struggles and we didn't recognize that. And he was a black young man. And it was like,
Mhm.
when I look back and see the progress that we've made with understanding that, because I do believe that there are people that understand therapy is a tool used, life coach is a tool used, bonding with your sisters, talking about things. Those are all things that help you acknowledge pain. But sometimes what I notice is we have to choose who we allow in our circle, the energy. And a lot of that times when you're in a state of dysfunction and generational trauma and your own life choices and not being able to see yourself. And I just always feel like this is something that we should be, if you can't learn it from your home, you should be able to learn from school.
Mhm.
Mm.
Women groups, men groups, people of color groups, whatever, how you want to
Mhm.
put us together, we
Mhm.
can heal each other. But we
Mhm.
have to learn how to be empathetic and kind to each other when we're going through these things. And I was a victim of not being heard and understood.
Mhm.
And I also didn't hear other people because I was so
Mm.
focused on my pain. So the thing for me, like I was always isolated, the woman that could do everything. I could do that. Don't worry, I got that. I don't need nobody's help. I mean, I'm raising three children. One is 29 now, and now I have a 15 and a 60-year-old. Went through my divorce. I went through the self-pity. I went through everything. But being by myself, I got to really understand who I was, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But what I said to myself was, you know what? You survived that.
Mhm.
And be grateful to myself. And then I looked at my parents because I felt like for me, that was the answer. And I spoke with my dad. He gave me the closure I needed. But I was always so angry with my mother. I was not graceful with my mother. I blamed her for so many things. I looked at her as such a weak person. But as I was going through my journey. I don't want to give you, as I was going through my journey, I said, why am I like this with her?
Mm.
My sister loves her. My sister has a great relationship with my mother. What is it about her that is making me be this way with her? And, fast forward, life was happening. We were all separated, but then I was like chiseling, forcing my way back in my sister's life. I'm like, you gonna love me. You know what I'm saying? And through healing my relationship with my sister and realizing that she was going through her own dysfunction, I was going through my own dysfunction, but I wanted to be there for her. It's like my body was saying, I need my sister. And then through that, we started incorporating our mom in our phone conversations. And at first, I was a little hostile, and then I toned it down and I learned to listen to her. And I was like, you know what? The perception I had of my mother is the complete opposite. She messed up. She repeated what she knew.
Mm-hmm.
She repeated what she knew. And with that grace and with me wanting my kids to forgive me for my mess ups, I learned I had to forgive my mother, heal that, move on. And my body started not being as tense. Because my body was always show when people touched me how I felt. And it's a lot going on. I thank Sister Asia for bringing me into this program. I knew her for quite some time, and I always wanted to write a book, and I accepted the challenge. But I would never think everything would be full circle. Let me just tell you guys, I don't want to cry. I'm not going to cry, but
You can just,
me meeting all these women that and their chapters and reading it from Dr. Khadijah down to Valerie, I was like, there's something in this book for everybody. It's not long-winded. Right. It's short. It's to the point. You can get anything from any single chapter you read. This is not a selling point. This is real. It is. No. And I read Annie. It's real. But when I read Annie's chapter, right? Goosebumps. Oh. I would never think that I would be in a position where I am now, being diagnosed with AML, leukemia, having cancer. And I think about the chapter a lot because I remember reading the chapter and I'm like, wow, she was a strong cookie. And I never allowed anybody to take care of me. And I think about me not trying to heal my past with my sister and my mother. And they have been so instrumental in my healing right now. Going through the chemo, being in the hospital, needing somebody to bathe me, like she said, allowing somebody to touch me and not cringing. I have to say that I haven't thought, why me, poor me, through this whole thing. The diagnosis was so quick, it was so fast. And I'm like, you know what? I'm putting this in God's hands. I put it completely in his hands and I'm like so worry free. I just go with the day as they come. But everything came full circle for me. I healed my sister's relationship, my mom's relationship. I have them in my life. I'm learning how to let people love me, care for me, show concern, which is something that I just was never used to. And I found it overwhelming. And this has been a hard experience, but it's just been positive. Like my mindset has been positive. And I think about not being able to heal my relationship with those closest to me. I would have been dealing with this by myself. So it's if you listen to yourself, listen to where God is trying to take you and stop being a know-it-all, everything falls in line. And it did. It fell in line for me. From being divorced, single, by myself, trying to figure it out, going through therapy, fighting my sister to love me and getting back into and listening to her and understanding where she was at. And then including my mother, including my grandmother, and bringing my daughters and my son into this. This has been a full circle experience, writing the book. I would never think that these stories would resonate with me. And they all are,
It's like the minute you opened your mouth, everything just came.
Mm,
The minute
mm,
you
mm.
opened your mouth.
Come on. Come on.
It's like I look back now and I'm like, I remember reading the chapters as Asia was sending this out, and I was reading like a greedy person. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my goodness, oh my God. And then when I was in the hospital, I thinking about Annie, I'm like, dang, this girl was like really pushing through,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was pushing through in all these things. I mean, unfortunately I missed the book signing. Um, but I persevered.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I persevered with a community as opposed to doing it
Yes.
solo.
Yes.
Mm, mm,
Yes,
mm. Oh,
yes,
wow.
yes.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And just I thought about that line from well, she was singing it in The Color Purple. God is trying to tell you something.
Mm,
Hmm.
God is trying to tell you something.
If you gotta sit still
Mm.
and listen, I always think of Judge Judy. 2 ears, one mouth.
I didn't
mhm.
even know she said so funny because I've heard that somewhere else. And
Yes.
I tell my students that this is why we got 2 ears and one mouth. Do more of
And she
this,
says it.
less of that.
Yes, she says it all the time. And
Hmm.
I
Okay.
learned to listen to, like, even when my sister talks about what she has gone through and her experience, and I respect it.
Mhm.
Even my mother's experience when she was talking to me about her childhood, and
Mhm.
I'm like, well, you know what? She's still standing. She went through a lot, and I
Mm.
just realized that when you think sometimes that people are being angry or weak, there's a story behind there. And if you listen with compassion, it could be healing for that person telling you, and vice versa. But sometimes people aren't where you at, so you have to leave them be, but you still have to treat them gracefully. And that's something that I realized, having grace and kindness. And I always tell my younger people in my life, be kind to yourself.
Hmm.
Be kind to yourself, because when you're kind to yourself, you love yourself and you treat yourself more gently than when you keep being hard on yourself. I got this wrong. I'm not doing that right. No, 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 no. You got to be kind to yourself.
Got to. Got to. And I love too what you said, how your mom, she was a willing participant too in wanting to heal, because what you speak of, with especially with that mother daughter relationship, there's a podcast actually called, that I highly recommend, us as women, men as well, because it's very, it's needed in our community. It's called the Black Mother Wound
Mm,
podcast. Jennifer Arnice. She is the host of that particular podcast. And just the things that you're talking about is something that is a real thing in our community, where that whole dynamic of is in particular, especially with that mother daughter dynamic growing up, and like you said, not feeling loved, not and a lot of it is not even just feeling loved, it's not being treated like you are supposed to be loved, not feeling welcome by your mom. And those things are real. And I'm glad that you were open enough and transparent enough to talk about that, because, and she talks about this too in her podcast, where, because again, we're taught that, yeah, you revere your mom, right? You know what I'm saying? No matter what, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you have those situations where somebody's going with their mother, and it's like that child is feeling like an outcast. They don't feel loved, they don't feel safe,
mm-hmm.
and these are real things that has to be addressed, because again, this is that generational trauma that we pass
Exactly.
down, and we tout it off as, well, that's a part of our culture, when we used to scratching and surviving, we used to trying to make it, and all of that. And it's like, but wait a minute, like you talked about, and you spoke so openly about, it affects the way we feel about ourselves. It
Yes.
affects how
Yes.
we look at ourselves. And
Yeah.
so, and we appreciate you. I'm so glad that you were open enough to talk about and even just disclosing you having cancer. And I pray that everybody pray for you, that God, He removes all of that and brings you to the healing that you need at this particular time. So again, I thank you. We thank you. I
Thank
want you to tell everybody the title of your chapter. And then also, I would love for you to read a couple of sentences as well from your chapter, please.
you. No problem. My chapter is chapter 6. It's Rewriting Legacies, a journey toward healing and empowerment. Um, I'm gonna read this piece here. Working on healing my childhood trauma has brought me and my family closer. We lean on each other and continue to learn from one another. My mothering skills have improved, and I can support my girls and my son. I give them the tools they need and resources that may help them improve their lives as well. And I ended it with everything becomes clearer when you wipe down your mirror and leave notes around for yourself to remember.
Mm,
And that is something I do when I'm feeling a certain type of way. I leave a sticky on my mirror. I leave a sticky on my kid's mirror. Just a little reminder.
yeah,
And, one thing about me, I'm not a quitter, so I don't give up.
come on.
That part.
None of us, okay?
That part.
We don't play that. But yes,
Yes.
go ahead. Hmm.
And I just hope that everyone is open to healing, seeing themselves, rewriting their story. That when I say rewriting,
Hmm.
writing their stories moving forward with positivity, with love, and with healing for themselves and for their children. You know what I'm saying? And I just hope that everybody that reads this book gets something out of each and every chapter, like I did myself.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wow. That is a perfect way to end this conversation that I know we can continue to go on and on because it's healing me right now listening to both of you. And this book is needed. And that's the thing. I really, yes, it's a selling as well.
Yes.
This is
It's a selling as well, but for real, and it's like seriously, this book is needed, especially during this time. I mean, you got a lot of folks who are dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and a lot
yes,
of it is due to that childhood trauma.
yes,
A lot of it is it stems from that. And like you both said, not having, if somebody doesn't have the tools, they don't know
Hmm.
how to be able to overcome and how to be able to get to that place to where they can just walk in spaces and be unapologetically themselves, then they'll still stay stuck. They'll
yeah,
still be there and they'll just be like, okay, I guess this is my lot in life. And just like, you talked about too, Didi, with how you become the change agent in your family. You
Hmm.
said, "Oh no, no, that curse it stops right here, baby. Oh no, it
hmm
don't go no further. I'm going to deal with it right now." And that
yes,
and those who are listening, that's something that could be you. You could be the one who is that change agent in your family. And I know it could be scary. That's why I
yes,
talk about my chapter, escaping the fear trap house. Okay, being trapped in that fear, afraid to, it can be scary. However, you have to push through that fear. You
yes,
have to push through that fear because we need to be healthy mentally, emotionally, financially, psychologically, physically, all of those things. We have to be healthy in those areas because if we're not, then we still gonna keep dealing with the same stuff. Our kids they're gonna be dealing with the same issues, and it could get just continuously, progressively worse. And so we ain't having that. That's why we got
no.
our
Yes.
book. That's why we wrote this book, y'all. Healed, empowered, resilient. Her.
Yes.
So I hope that you are enjoying this episode of Real Reading Talk. And I just want to remind you, your girl is an author. That's right, a co-author of this book here, Her, Healed, Empowered, Resilient. I had the chance to be a part of an amazing author's masterclass. All right. So me and these remarkable women have come together to share our stories of how different challenges, setbacks, different things that we've had issues with in our childhood, all types of things that you can think of. These were the things that we were able to overcome, push through, and persevere. We are sharing our story here in this book. And of course, again, like I always remind you, when we talk about issues, it's not about staying stuck. And that's why this book was written. We don't want you to stay stuck. We didn't want to stay stuck. We're tired of that stuff. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So that's why we said we are going to share our stories, because we want to empower our young women as well as our wise women. This is the book that you need in your vault. If any of these things you have issues with, any of these things resonate with you, you feeling like you don't love yourself, you're feeling like nobody is listening to me, you can't get past the trauma that was induced upon you as a child, this book is what you need in your home. Please go to Amazon and purchase your copy. If you are ready to heal, if you are ready to be empowered, if you are ready to tap into your resilience, then Her is the book that you need. All right. So now you can go back and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yes.
So I want to thank both of you. Yes. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's end on.
Go get the
no,
book.
I love it. Go ahead, Ann. That's right. That's right. Go grab your copy.
Go get the book.
Yes.
Yes.
And that cover,
Yes.
y'all. I just adore our cover. I'm just saying. I just adore our cover. Okay. That crown. When I saw that crown on that H, I was like,
yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
it. So yes, indeed. So again, I thank both of you, Annie and Claudette, for joining me on Real Reading Talk. And I would love for you guys, can you all tell everybody too where you because obviously you guys are both on social media. So can you all tell everybody where to find you on social media? Because you guys are posting, times, where people got the book. So go ahead, share that.
On Instagram for me, it's 4, the number 4, the love of me at Instagram. I don't know.
Yep, IG for the love of me. Yep,
Yes,
that's right.
for the love of me.
It's all right.
For the love of me.
That's your IG handle. Yes, indeed. And yes, Claudette, what is yours?
Mine is at DNice, DEENICCE 37 on Instagram.
Love it, love it. And every time I see yours, I always think about, because I'll be listening to D Nice. I don't know if y'all listen to Club Quarantine.
Yes.
Yes. So I love it, y'all. I appreciate you guys once again. And you all again, make sure you all get this copy, y'all, because we were pouring ourselves into this book intentionally, okay? Because we are in the business of healing our communities. We are in the business of breaking these generational curses, this trauma, however you want to term it, so that we can begin to create a trajectory of a healthy, minded, and spirited community. So
yes.
Thank you all again.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Annie.
Yes.
Yes.
So I thank you all again for listening to another episode of Real Reading Talk. I am your most gracious host, Ms. Sasha. And remember to please keep reading for at least 30 minutes a day. And remember, reading is freedom. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. And once again, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed that episode. And as a reminder, make sure you grab your copy of the book, y'all. You need this book, and we have it available for you on Amazon. All right. Also, if you are looking for that pre-K through 4th grade reading tutor, your baby needs that reading support. They are struggling with phonemic awareness, phonics, comprehension, fluency, vocabulary. Then you need to go to my website, abclearntutoring.com, and click on the free reading assessment today. I am also an Orton Gillingham certified dyslexia tutor. So if your child is dealing with dyslexia or dysgraphia, and they have been diagnosed with those, then you need to have me on your team. All right. So again, go to abclearntutoring.com. And of course, as you all know, I am the founder and executive director of ABC Read, the nonprofit organization that has been giving out books, having dope reading experiences, having literacy workshops, and book clubs. Okay. Go to our website, abcread.org. Check us out. And please, we accept any donations. And make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Reading is Freedom. The episode will be uploaded there. I have a multitude of read alouds for your child, especially if you don't have time to read to your child. Hey, listen, put that device to good use. Go to my YouTube channel, Reading is Freedom. Make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I created Reading is Freedom. All right. So I have a website, readingisfreedomshop.com, where you can choose to get your mug. You can grab your shirt just like I got on. You got your hoodie, your sweatshirts. Go ahead so that we can continue to promote this message of reading, literacy, how it is a necessity. It's not an option. All right. Reading is something that we should be doing all the time. All right. And of course, like I told you all before, grab your copy, y'all, of the book. Okay, it's on Amazon. Go ahead. It will be a $25 worth spent, because remember, when you are getting books, that's an investment. This is something that is going to carry on for generations to generations when you are reading those words and you are making the changes that you need in your life. All right. And then you are imparting it to your progeny or the young people that you are in contact with. So I thank you all again for listening. And I just want to share with you all the book that I just finished, which is Phil Whedon's a memoir, I Can't Stop Now, I Gotta Live. Phenomenal book. I highly recommend that you go ahead and get your copy of that book. And then I want to leave you all with the quote by Frederick Douglass, in which he said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And so, of course, this applies to women as well. All right. So remember that. All right. Be intentional about breaking those generational trauma curses that we have adapted in our community and try to say that it's a part of our culture. No, it is time to discard it immediately. So I thank you all again for listening to another episode of Real Reading Talk. I am your most gracious host, Ms. Sasha. And remember, reading is freedom. And please keep reading for at least 30 minutes a day. Peace.